Scorpio, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early July 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Scorpio collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us? What do you have for Scorpio gang in early July? It's Cancer season. What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. Let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Scorpio gang in early July. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's get this card out nice and quick. We're going to have a good time today, my friends. Let's have some fun here. There we go. Cool. I'll take it. I haven't seen this card in quite a while, so I love when I get cards that haven't shown up for months for any reading. And notice we have these two, what look like twins, looking through the same mask here. So there's a plethora of symbolism that we could break down here. And this does give me Gemini vibes for some reason. So if you're connected to Gemini, but before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the July subscriber surprise towards the end. So you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So again, beautiful imagery here. We have these two people that look identical. They're sharing a mask. And the one thing I always mention about this card, now, of course, when we see the symbolism of a mask, we think of there's more than what it seems to this situation, or that there's something more underlying here. There's something more going on. And that could be the case. Maybe there are certain things or situations you're dealing with where there might be certain variables that you're not seeing or that someone's not seeing. That's very possible. I don't want to say that this feels like deceit to me, because the biggest thing with this card, aside from that, is perspective, right? Notice these two different people are looking through the same mask. So it's like they're trying to get on the same level, same page. So in this time, whatever situations you're dealing with, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, maybe Spirit wants you to try to adjust your perspective, where it's like, all right, I'm going to put myself in their shoes. If I was in their shoes, what would I do? Maybe you want someone to see things from your vantage point. That's very possible. And in my personal life, when I go through a variety of different situations, I always think it's good practice to pull myself out of it and act as if I was advising somebody else going through, where it's like, all right, let me pull myself emotionally out of this and analyze the situation. What would I advise someone I care about? I don't know why that's coming through, but this is a big thing about perspective, and perspective is everything, right? Like how we view things, and it is changeable. But let's just put that down right there. I feel like I could keep talking about that. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, Gemini energy for some reason. But yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's shuffle this deck up and get you 3 for Scorpio gang. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. There was a ton of karmic energy last week, and that's why the reading was titled Karma Gets Served, where it's like the universe taking the wheel of a situation and saying, hey, Scorpio, let me drive. I'll handle this. I'll take care of this. Now, for some of you, that's a very good thing. For others, maybe not so much. Maybe it was someone else's situation that you observe. It could be all of those things. One thing I always say about karmic or spiritual universal energy, it can linger for quite a while. So we're going to see what we see this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Scorpio gang. What do we have in early July, please? Yeah, the deck is being very specific. I'll take that. All right. We got the Tower, Scorpio gang. That's why I'm chuckling there. And again, this card has a totally different complexion in a Scorpio reading, because that's a Scorpio power card. I think I say whenever it shows up in a Scorpio reading, like, all right, I'm not that concerned. Let's get a couple more. Starting with a bang, my friends. Let's get a couple more here. All right, 6 of Cups, cool. Much softer. So these energetic frequencies are totally different. Like when we go from the Tower to the 6 of Cups, I mean, unless you're very sentimental than you usually are, that could be possible for some Scorpios, or I might be in my feelings a little bit. Could this be a good thing? It could be. We have the sun on the back end. One thing I'll mention already is the energetic intensity from all these. And listen, as someone that has Scorpio placements, I get it. Scorpio is a very intense zodiac sign. Whether you're a cross watcher or whether you have Scorpio placements yourself, if you have any dealings with Scorpio energy, you know that it's intense, and that is not going to disappoint here, but there is like a softer side to it too. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know me, I always love to look at the elements. I feel like that paints a picture for us, and it lays a pretty good foundation. And I'm pretty cool with what we have so far. So we have a mix of water and fire. Cool. Now, of course, the tower, that does not look like water. It does look like fire and brimstone, but that's Scorpio power card, and we'll talk about that a little more. But water is Scorpio's element. That's your power element, your comfort zone. So usually Scorpio, if there's a lot of water in your spread, it's like, yeah, cool, I'm comfy. I could deal with this. I could work with this. Now, water is the emotional realm. It's the inner world, matters of the heart. So whether it is personal relationships, personal connections, whether it's anything or situation that you are emotionally invested in, that could be in play too. Like when I get water, it's something I genuinely care about. It's not something I'm pretending to care about. It's something I actually care about. It could be creative juices flowing, right? Like when I see water, I think of intuition, I think of spirituality, but I also think of thinking outside of the box, creativity. So whether it's creative problem solving or just, art, writing, music, just expressing oneself. The only downside to water energy is that it can be very, very intense. It can overwhelm, and it does have that in, out, back, forth like the tides. On the back end, we have fire, the realm of action. So whether it's the actions you take, the actions other people take, the actions you decide not to take, it's a very high vibrational frequency there. And fire could deal with energy levels. It could deal with health and wellness. It's usually good because it's energy in motion. The downside to fire is that it's very hard to contain. It's kind of unpredictable, and it does have an explosive quality. So we're going to have to see how all this plays out. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we start with the tower. All right. Now, the tower, in and of itself, of course, it represents shock. I already mentioned that this is a Scorpio card. So when we clarified it, it could just tell us something that's coming towards us or a way we might be feeling, right? So we're not super concerned about this. Although the imagery looks scary, the energy doesn't have to be, because I always say, yeah, it's shock. Yes, it's an energy that comes in out of the blue. Yes, it's super intense and explosive. But at the same time, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Not every tower is a bad tower. Sometimes a tower actually works in your benefit. It could be a good shock, and I think it might be with what we have coming up. I don't want to put a stamp of approval on that just yet, but this might be a good tower. Um, think of endings, sure. Think of hitting the reset button on certain things, building a new foundation. That could all be in play with this. And it's just very, very intense. And this is another thing that I link to just internal energy levels too. Or it could even be things like libido, because the tower is like a phallic symbol. So take that for what you will. We're not going to walk down that road. Now, moving to the middle, we go from this intense shock based type of energy on the front. We're starting with a bang, it's just very rapid. And we move into something much more delicate. We have the Six of Cups. Now, this card could represent soul ties, soul connections, relationships. To me, it generally represents someone where there's like a soul recognition, or we've known them for a long time, right? There's history here. Because to me, the Six of Cups, if we put the partnership message to the side, it's memories, right? It's like I'm thinking back, I'm reminiscing, I'm thinking about 10 years ago when I did this. So you might be taking more trips down memory lane. This card could sometimes show up when the past comes back around. So we'll see. Is there something that's going to pop back up? Very possible when this card is here. So I don't dislike it, but the past isn't always sunshine and rainbows, right? The past isn't just good memories, and the inverse of this card can absolutely represent, old memories coming back to haunt me, right? So I'm not saying that's definitely the case, but I like to give you both sides of the coin. But it's also very sentimental, and it's soft, and it's emotional. So it's totally different from this tower. So Scorpio, you might just be a little softer around the edges than you usually are. It's very possible when this is here. Now, moving to the back end, we ramp back up the intensity to a maximum, right? We got the sun, beautiful Leo energy. We love the sun. It's the most powerful card, or the most positive and powerful card in the whole entire deck. I link this to source energy, so you don't get much more powerful than that, right? Now, the sun, light, life, love that shines down on us from spirit. This is wins, victories, blessings, you name all the good stuff. The sun is all that and more, which is really nice. So we'll take it. But the downside to the sun, even the most positive card does have an inverse, is the intensity of it, right? Have you ever had sunburn? You ever stay out in the blazing sun for too long? How does that make you feel? Did it dehydrate you? Right? So the same thing could be said from the sun, where it's like with the tower, then the softer energy, then the intensity. Just there's so much energetic intensity in this spread. The sun can also represent revelations, realizations, information coming to the surface, aha moments, eureka moments. So I like it initially, but I want to dive deeper on all of it, Scorpio. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for Scorpio gang. What do we got going on? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the tower. And if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Scorpio, drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. All right, why is the tower here? Why is the tower here for Scorpio gang? Cool. Yeah, it's just... All right, so we have the action. We have the Knight of Wands in the upright. So these are like mirror energies. It's just very rapid, very fast, whether this is the action that somebody's taking or just the overall energetic intensity. I think we're going to have to wait till we get to the sun to get the final result of all this intensity, because these mirror each other completely. Now, for some Scorpios, if you have fire placements like me, I have fire and Scorpio placements. This could just be a good representation of your forward thrust, your forward momentum. The Knight of Wands, as with all knights, they're communicators, they're messengers, but they also represent action. So when I see the tower with the Knight of Wands, either one, it's a shocking talk, or two, it's a shocking action. Very simple, straightforward, because remember, fire, it's all about the action. It's very intense. The Knight of Wands does not hold back. So those are the main things I'm feeling up here. I don't even think we need to complicate it. So just know, in this time, Scorpio, urges you might have might be very intense. Things that you want to say, you might not be able to zip your lips, right? If there's certain things that you feel have been left unsaid, I wouldn't say that any of us will have a great filter on us in this time. Okay, so if you're a cross watcher, take that for what it's worth. Maybe that's something you want, right? Do you want Scorpio no filter? If you do, this energy supports it. So yeah, to me, it's either a shocking talk or shocking action, like right off the jump. Now, the most intriguing thing to me is going to be how the energy looks when it softens up and then when it intensifies again, because I we still haven't gotten the final result. Let's go in on the Six of Cups. Let's see what that is. Let's see what that is. It's just like really fast. It's really fast for some reason. So why is the Six of Cups here? What is happening? Okay. Okay. So we have a mini tower now. It's not, again, not necessarily bad. We got the Ace of Wands, and this, out of all the aces, I always say they represent offers, they represent opportunities. To me, it's like a door opening whenever I get any ace. But the Ace of Wands, again, also a phallic symbol, right? Take that for what it's will. Some of my Scorpio friends might be a little extra wound up in this time. We'll leave it at that. But the Six of Cups and the Ace of Wands in the upright, to me, that does feel like something popping back up or returning. And again, with the conversations, aces are conversations. So it's like you might hear from someone you were not expecting to hear from, or you might have a conversation you were absolutely not expecting to have. It's like one of those here, because the Ace of Wands is a mini tower to me. It is, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't. So there is all this energy around communication, conversation, the actions people take, things returning and popping back up. It's like a whole slew of different things, and it feels very intense to me. So yeah, we're just gonna keep moving. Again, it's a talk, potentially something returning, potentially. Like there's a lot of energetic potential. That's the one thing I'll say. Since there's so much intensity it's like, all right, there's a lot can be done with all this energy, Scorpio. So if you've been feeling a little down, this might be some motivation to handle business, that's for sure. Let's keep moving over to the sun. Let's see what the end result might be. Because I've been thinking about that. Because it's like, yeah, I get it. All right, yeah, the intense energy, cool. But where's it going? Where's it heading? Let's see. So why is the sun here for Scorpio gang? And we'll do our recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the sun here? Okay. Okay. It's like an energy where I don't have to try that hard, or I shouldn't have to try that hard. I think it's good. So we have the Five of Swords in reverse underneath the sun. If there is something or someone that has gotten on your wrong side, if there's something you're a little pissed about, to me it's like, okay, no, I feel good about this. It's like someone there's either a sense of relief, or I don't want to say acceptance, but the energy to me is like, all right, well, you know what, I'm not mad about this. I'm not upset about this anymore. I feel okay about this now. So could it come after a conversation? Potentially. There could be some sort of healing conversation. But the Five of Swords, we have it in reverse. Usually in the upright, it's push, 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 go, go, go. My way or the highway, right? It's a very aggressive, forward moving energy. So, like when I see it in reverse, underneath the sun, it's like the less I try, the better. And I've been seeing that for a few different signs in recent weeks. I'm not sure if Scorpio, if it's shown up in Scorpio readings, but the sun, the best card in the deck with the Five of Swords in reverse, it's like either one, when I didn't want this result anymore, that's when I got it, or two, the less I try, the better. It's like the less I try, the more magnetic I become. So there could be certain things, situations that you might be dealing with, and Spirit might be like, hey, don't don't force it. Just don't force it. The more you force it, the clunkier it gets energetically. So we have a lot of stuff going on here. At least the energy doesn't feel like pissy or angry to me, but it's just intense. Like even the Five of Swords itself is very intense. Let's go through and do a quick recap, then we'll get into the shadow. So we have a lot here, my friends, but that's okay. Position number one, we got the Tower with the Knight of Wands in the upright. Yes, it could be shocking action, someone popping up out of the blue, or it could just be a conversation or talk where it's like, okay, all right, that happened. It's just very intense and it does have that shock wave to it. But moving to the middle, I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. This could be something popping back up or returning. Intense doesn't mean bad, and it could be good at some point. But yeah, when I see the Six of Cups with the Ace of Wands, it could be something popping back up. Still tied into the communication and conversation. That seems to be a big thread here. There is something about the libido too, so take that for what it's worth. Moving to the back end, we have the Sun with the Five of Swords, where it's like the less I try, the better the results. Where it's like when I'm not fighting for something, that's when I get the thing. It's like one of those weird uh, situations where it's like, all right, now that I don't want the thing, here it is. It's like one of those weird vibes, and you're not the only one to get that this week. But to me, the less you fight, the better, or the less you push, because this energy doesn't feel angry, aggressive, or like it's pushing, which is odd with all this energy up front. So maybe there's something Spirit wants you to be non reactive to, if possible. But please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yeah, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, they could be a good thing too. Let's get you one. And if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out. What do we got in the shadows for Scorpio gang? Thank you. Okay, King of Swords. That's a very strategic type of energy. Now, if you're dealing with an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, remember it's not gender specific. This could be them showing up. But I'll tell you what I think is the good aspect of him and the challenging. The good aspect of the King of Swords, it is a master tactician, a master strategist, where it's like, no, I'm going to stick to the plan. I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to build it, and I'm going to stick to it. It's very cut and dry. It's usually very honest, and it sees things for what it is. So in this time, your ability and power to analyze things and analyze people's intentions could be heightened. That's a good thing. But the downside of the King of Swords, sometimes it could be a little bit cold. Sometimes it could be a little bit mean. And just like I was saying with that Tower, Knight of Wands, where like, oh, this energy could be a little hurtful with the words. Watch out for that with the King of Swords, because this energy might say a few things that could cut deep when this card is here. It could also be very cold and detached. I'm not saying that this is someone that's heartless, but they're not leaning into the cups. He's definitely not the King of Cups for a reason, right? So we're just going to put him down right there, my friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details, the July subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The July calendar is up and spots go quick, so you might want to check that out. But for the July subscriber surprise, doing another winner's choice, I will choose 3 lucky winners to either choose a copy of the Gilded Tarot Royale, which is one of my favorite decks of all time. It's a must-have, or a handmade pendant from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed, and second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards that showed up in today's reading, which one spoke to you the most, or jumped out to you the most, or resonated with you. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my posts tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.